I woke up early today and I've been doing a lot of research, and I have to come to you and tell you what I'm learning. Now, all of this is it's not, I was going to say conjecture. It's not conjecture. This is like, a lot of this is theory and science and spiritual knowledge combined. So bear with me as I explain to you what I'm trying to go through here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to give you a clear, concise explanation, but hopefully you'll catch on. I was researching how targeting could occur, and the voices are always saying that it's technology. So I wanted to understand specifically how a technology could exist that could monitor people's thoughts, that could put put other people's emotions in them, that can make them hear things, that can make them see things, that can make them experience things. So I started to do my research. The first thing I did was search up AI supercomputers, because there is a creator who talks about targeting, and in her comments there was a woman who mentioned that everybody should go and learn about AI supercomputers, and this is how all of this is going on. So me thinking it's these AI supercomputers that are controlling everybody and targeting everyone and doing all of these terrible things. So I'm like, how is this possible? Let me learn about these AI supercomputers so I know how it's doing what it's doing. And long story short, I did my research. So let me try and go through it. But it's a lot of research. I've been doing this for hours. I have to try and condense everything I've learned and make it as concise as possible. So this is my attempt. So I first started looking into supercomputers and where they are located. I will do other videos on this, so don't worry, I will go more into depth, but this is just a summary video. It said that they are either in concealed spaces, so most likely underground in universities, in labs and other places like that. So, but mostly underground, because they would need to have loads of servers and all these other devices and things, and it will have to have a environment which they can't mess with. Anyway, long story short, so I started thinking, okay, it could be underground, but then that didn't make sense. So I started to look to, and then I don't know what came to me, but I was thinking about satellites. So I looked into satellites. How do satellites work? What are they doing? Why are they there? And why are there so many? And this is where a lot of the lights went off in my head. So satellites are monitoring constantly. They are observing everything that's happening here on Earth. Radio signals, EMF signals, so electromagnetic signals, which is a large range of signals that includes UV rays, radio waves, Wi-Fi, all of these things. It's constantly detecting what is happening on Earth. And so I thought, if this is the case, where is the signals? How can it collect? You know how small they show us that satellites look like if you look online. And I'm like, how is it collecting all of this information, and where it has no wire connected to it? So where is it sending all of this information to? And I'm like, if there is a place where it's sending all this information to, I know that technology needs a lot of memory, and the memory requires a lot of device and hardware. It will need a lot of electricity. It will need a lot of energy and a lot of space. So I started thinking to myself, here on Earth, where is there possible that there could be a place where it has all this space? Now, there's a potential that it could be underground, like the AI said, but underground, it's very limited, and it's hard to receive signals from underground, I imagine, because there's wires and trains and everything everywhere. So I started thinking, oh, I've heard stories about the moon being like a center where things happen, where people die, they go to the moon, blah, 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 blah. And then I started to think about spaceships, because one of the things that I did, one of my research came across, was that they are some satellites which are like spaceships, but I don't think there's some satellites that are like spaceships. I think there are the little devices that you see in the sky moving around, but there are spaceships, huge spaceships. There are whole entire systems, I don't know how to describe it, but where they are collecting this information, processing this information, and monitoring the Earth. Now, this may not be a surprise to many people. And again, I'm saying, this is what I understand in the situation. So everybody has their own take, but we are being deceived. If you notice, you can't see into the sky not at night or not at day. There's the chemtrails in the sky that they are covering the sun, they are covering the sky, so you can't see through the clouds during the day. And at night, it's like there is light pollution. This is all the things they claim. It's light pollution, so you can't see the stars, and then you can't actually see what is up in space. I suspect what those things are that we see that are stars are actually devices, and I suspect that there are a lot of spaceships in the air. I've heard about this because I went to a networking event one time, and this guy told me he worked for some sort of like security thing, and they help people, and they are developing a aircraft that will be hovering in space. Anyway, long story short, they have this technology. They've had it for a very, very, very long time. So you're wondering, what does all of this have to do with what are agents? So let me try and get my line of thought. So I was thinking, okay, so maybe it's the computers, these super AI systems in space that are monitoring us and detecting our thoughts and sending us images and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. So I'd done all of that research. Then I was like, how can they send, because if you imagine, if you are a supercomputer in space and you're sending signals to somebody's head here on Earth without their consent, they've never sat down in a chair and had the ECG or whatever that thing they put on their heads to send them signals. So how can they interpret what we're thinking? How do they even know because everybody's mind is individual. How do they even know how everybody's mind works to be able to send signals back to the person, and they're able to interpret what they're actually hearing? Now, there is monitoring that involved in this, so I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. So I was like, even if they could send signals to a person here on Earth, if that was even possible, then how does all that information so I've experienced possession. This is what I've dealt with. So foreign entities, presences in my body. I'm like, how can they send a whole simulation of a person's personality? This also goes into Neuralink, which is what Elon Musk is doing. So he wants to upload people's personalities, like their whole person, onto a computer. So this also goes to brain-to-brain technology. So they claim that the military are using brain-to-brain technology. They probably are doing that, but you would have to be wired up. This is where so what I'm trying to get to is you can't send someone's whole personality through the air. It's like, so maybe AI computers can pick up all of your personality, not all of it, but your surface personalities, your behaviors, your tics, your memories, blah, 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 if you were tied up to it or if you had some sort of device in your head. But how wirelessly, wirelessly, how could they send all that information to somebody's head? So possessions, if you're somebody who's dealt with possessions, or you felt like you had a presence in your body, or something is controlling you, or you forget things all the time, I'll go into this in another video because this has to be explored in more detail. But if you're experiencing that, I'm trying to say it can't be sent through the air because the air hasn't got the technological machinery to hold all of that information. If you see what I mean, if you're breathing in air, you can't hold all that information in air. So long story short, and I'll go into this again in another video, some years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, I was able to detect objects or things, presences in my environment with copper, electrified copper. I could detect it's like things like a moving magnetic force in my environment, and it would be more than one, and it would move around and it would zoom around my place, and whenever it touched me or came close, I would feel things in my body. So what I'm trying to say is what I initially thought, that this is all coming from the satellite up in space, is not true. We are dealing with entities. They're kind of like, how do I describe? They're like ghosts. They are detectable. So don't think you can't detect them. Technology can detect them. I'll talk about this in another video, how you can detect them. One of the ways you can do that is by getting one of those those devices. I have one. You've seen it in my previous videos where I show you the radio waves and frequencies that I'm experiencing. But the most sensitive way you could detect them is electrified copper. So if you get like a copper wire, you attach it to a little radio, and you go to like a silent channel, and you just allow and you'll feel them, their presence. They have an electromagnetic field. So, and I was like researching, how is this possible? Is there like drones that are so invisible that you can't see? There are potentially some technologies that are so small that you can't detect them, but can they carry a whole consciousness of a human being? That's the thing. And whenever I was experiencing anything like heaviness or anything, it was them. So I'm not going to go into it too much. These are my theories. So they are, one of the things I know about them is that they don't have bodies because they are constantly 24 hours monitoring, and a human can't do that. It's not possible for a human to monitor somebody 24 hours. They have to go for toilet breaks. They have to eat. They have to do... Now, they do... I'm going to say that they do go and come, but I don't think they're going and coming to do their food, like to do that type of stuff. I think they're going between people. They're like traveling around, jumping around. They can be in your environment. They need your facility to you to interpret your thoughts. They need facility. Now, I'm going to have to talk about this in another video because this is already getting very long. But one of the reasons I'm going to say why I don't think it's technology in the way that we think it is because in order for technology, like a remote technology, like something in the sky or something in the ground, to send us information, it would have to connect us to a machine. The machine would have to first interpret what we're thinking. Then it would have to send it to the other person, and it would have to connect to a machine. And that machine would have to have a big processing unit that interprets what they're thinking and then send it back. So the machines are important in this. And if you're standing in your room now and you're hearing voices and stuff, and you're feeling other people's emotions and other things like that, and there's no machine connected to you, it either means one of two things. We are sleeping in a sense, and we are in the Matrix, like the film The Matrix, and we are connected to a machine in another realm, another reality, or in another consciousness, and that's how they're interpreting our thoughts and sending us things, and we're just experiencing it here. Or what I'm suspecting is that these entities, you could call them demons, you could call them jinn, you could call them whatever, ghosts, spirits, these entities are inhabiting our bodies, that they are possessing us, or they come near us, and they need close proximity because they can't hear from afar. They need to be in your surrounding areas. This is why when you go outside, if you're a targeted individual, you get gang stalking. They need to be in your vicinity to know what's going on. They may be able to broadcast this stuff, but I think they come and they go because they want to be around to hear what's going on. So again, there is AI, there is technology, that is monitoring, that stuff happens, but that's because they don't understand what we're thinking, and they need to understand that these people understand what you're thinking. There's things that they don't get, and there are some technological aspects to it, but they are more like spirits. Now, I'm not going to assume anything. I'm just going to have different theories and hold place for each of the theories and have them confirmed over time. But I will come to you with a video about solutions next, but I will go into this so much more deeper because it really does play with one's mind. So what I've been like, if you've been watching my channel, those who've been here for a very long time, if it's TikTok, then this is a recent channel to you guys. If you are on TikTok, I suggest you go to my YouTube channel because I can make longer videos there and I can go more to depth, and there is more videos on there. But what I was going to say is, my mind just went blank, so they just done that to me, so I would forget what I was going to say. What I'm going to say is, though, they are in your environment. They need proximity to you. Please watch my solutions video, but if you don't get to watch that, what I will say to you is I'll say harmonize your environment. If you live in if it's dry, if it has positive charged ions, then it's more likely that they're able to stay there in that environment. It will attract them, or it will facilitate them. It will make life easier for them. Try and what would you call it? Negatively charge your environment. So, grounding your home, grounding yourself, all those type of things. I'm not going to give you too much details on that. You have to go and do that research yourself. I'm not going to give you that information, and you have to do your own research because I don't want to make it predictable. All of us doing the same thing. You have to do that research yourself. So everybody does it in their own way. And I will just add on that, like, the people who were spiritual, the spiritual people were onto something. They were not lying. And also because there is other dimensions to this, like there's demons, there's jinn. These spirits have been around the earth for a very long time. So I would say be prayerful, pray to, your God, to what you believe in. I would say Jesus, even if I would say Jesus is a very powerful word, like a very powerful, I don't know how to describe it, but like, yeah, even if you're not really, even when I wasn't, I always believed in God, but even when I wasn't very faithful, the word Jesus would always, scare them. It wouldn't get rid of them, but it would scare them. But, so just explore those things, explore your prayers, renounce any access that, you may have given in this life, in another life, whatever it may be. So I'll leave it at that for now. See you in the next video. Bye.